I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Tuesday, May the 9th, brought to you in part by New Generation Supplements. New Generation only sells what is proven to improve cattle performance and help animals reach their genetic potential, and what is proven to support a producer's bottom line. For more information, go to newgensupplements.com. Also, Beaver County Stockyards, a little bit lighter run for them than what's typical, about 1,800 head. They'll have about 1,000 head of yearlings. For sure, 6 load lots of 8 and 9 weight steers, just 1 load lot of 7 weight heifers. There'll be several packages of 5 to 7 weight stalker type yearlings there. About 400 calves on offer. A lot of those will be those little 2 and 3 weights split off from their mothers there on older cows coming in. But those little lightweight things have been bringing pretty good money here the last several weeks, as a lot of people are bringing in older pairs and they're splitting them off right there. But those little light 2 and 3 weight cattle, they've got all the options in the world. There's going to be 5 or 6 times at least you'll have an opportunity to peddle those, and surely a few of them will make you some money. The rest of the calf offering will be about half weaned. Going to have around 400 cows. About 100 of those are going to come from Robert Lee consignment there, and they're going to be about half 3 to 5 year old good black cows with calves at side, and the other half's going to be mostly 6-year-old black baldy cows with really nice calves at side, guys. If you're looking for some moderate aged young cows there with really nice calves, working type cows for you, get a hold of them there at Beaver County Stockyards, or watch them online, get approved to bid on dvauction.com. But next week already they've got another big string of first calf heifer pairs consigned for next week's sale. But it is still really dry in that country. They did have a half to 3/4 inch of rain across a lot of the Oklahoma Panhandle there a week and a half ago. But if they don't get anything to follow, it's going to be just as bad as it is anywhere. But what to root for in this fat cattle market? We've seen all-time record highs this calendar year so far. It's fallen back quite a bit now. What are your cattle feeders rooting for? Well, I bet they may not admit it, but there's bound to be a few out there that at least for the next couple of weeks are maybe squinting and looking at that June live cattle futures and hoping that maybe it's a foot lower. That's the best way for them to make more money. They've lost their leverage in the fat cattle trade. A steady market would be a huge victory. I don't expect steady. But if you don't think that if the June live cattle were down a couple of bucks to start the week, that you wouldn't have some Southern Plains cattle feeders call the packers up and say, hey, that's 171 that you were offering late last week. That sounds awfully good to me. And they said, well, it's not there, but maybe 170, and they'd take that. But the basis is the best way for them to end up with more money in their pocket right now. And until we get a little bit further along into May here, because we don't have a May futures contract for live cattle, it's likely just going to wander off in different directions. We lost a ton of open interest last week when your June live cattle futures were just tanking. So we've lost that. We don't know what's going to drive it. We just don't have the outside investors coming in on the long side of the live cattle anymore, because the interest has gone up so much, and there's other things that's a lot safer that they can put their money in. But what side are these cattle feeders on? It seemed like a lot of them have kind of given up on trying to get another surge in this fat cattle market on a cash basis. Northern Plains guys, a lot of them are still staying hooked and trying really hard, but I cannot stress to you how tight the supplies of really finished cattle are. These well-finished cattle are in such a tight supply. You guys are absolutely in the driver's seat, and you could leverage your way into turning this market back around, at least for another couple of weeks here. But whenever you've got a $11.50 basis here, it's kind of hard to get things worked around. But I can't stress enough how tight the supplies of really well-finished market-ready cattle are, especially in the northern plains. But it's just going to be interesting to see what goes on here. And I hate it when we got basis jumpers and we're in a situation whenever we got such a huge basis there. You can't really blame them, because they've got to make money when they see an opportunity to make money. It's such a hard row to hoe on feeding these cattle, and you've got to find some break evens and some profits where you can. And that's probably where they're going to make it. But then you give up all that market position, and then there you are. But we've got really light beef production so far this year. It would be more of a story if we didn't have your pandemic in the last 5 years or so. So we just really we can't gauge it, because we'd fallen off on our production there. But if we hadn't have fallen off on our production there in 2020 and even in 21, we would be showing such light beef production under normal circumstances that it would be blaring, and it might be enough to cause some people to invest in the market. Our exports have been down, and that's kind of offset some of that light beef production. First quarter beef exports have been down 7.9%, and actually Japan and Mexico are up. They're our normal big customers, but our other big customer, Canada, has been down quite a bit. Our Koreas have been down, and China, of course, down, because they're just going to not really play fair with us in anything that they're doing. They want everything coming their way. Let's talk about your board to start the week out. June live cattle futures up 50 cents. Woohoo, big deal. 162.42. August up 57 at 160.07. Back months on live cattle up 55 to up 85. I guess they thought maybe it was oversold, you think? But May feeder cattle was up 90 cents at 203.42. Huge premium to what your cash index levels are. August up 167 at 223.10. Back months were all up big on feeder cattle, up 145 to up 202. Grains are still tailing off here for the new crops, but May corn was up 3 1/4 cents a bushel at 656 1/2. December new crop corn down 5 cents at 529 3/4. May beans down 1/4 cent at 1468 3/4. November new crop beans down 7 1/2 at 1272 1/2. Weighted average on last week's negotiated fed cattle trade out of your 5 area feeding regions, 71,100, very comparable to the previous week of 70,800. A lot lighter than the same week a year ago of 95,600. Live sales of steers and heifers last week ranged from 170 to 179, $1 to $4 lower. Once we got everything gathered up and then compared it to everything, including the previous week's Friday sales, your weighted average on live steers 173.93. That's down $3.22. Basically, your Northern Plains live market was mostly $2 lower, from 176 to 178. Your dress trade in your 5 area was 275 to 285, steady to $2 lower. Your dressed weighted average on steers was 280.94, down 311. Your dress trade in the Northern Plains was mostly $2 to $5 lower in the country, on just a one price of 281. Southern Plains market last week was mostly $1 lower at 172, but late sales were $2 lower at 171. Nationwide, we sold 86,600 head. negotiated cash. 30% of those for the 15 to 30 day delivery. Negotiated grid was 54,800. Forward contracting has fallen off a lot here, 16,600, but formula trade 261,200 head last week. Of your 5 areas and 4 areas is all we ever get to see any information from. Last week, Iowa sold 23,700 negotiated. Nebraska sold 18,200. Kansas sold 15,300. Texas sold 13,800. Big movement in the Southern Plains when the market finally collapsed there. Box beef cutout values were cheaper on Monday afternoon. Choice cuts down 63 cents at 308.56. Selects down 304 at 285.12. Your slaughter, though, I know it's just on Monday, but it was estimated at 126,000. That's more than typical, quite a bit more. But here lately, we've only basically been harvesting 4 days, or 4.5 days maybe at best, with nothing on Saturday at all and really light on Friday. But talk about what else is going on. A Night Latch group out of western Oklahoma, they would like to teach you about gross margin policies. Give them a call there at the Night Latch group. And that's not all they sell. They also sell all your livestock policies, including the LRPs, your drought insurance, crop insurance, all your ag insurance needs right there. Get a hold of them at nightlatch.net. Talk about your feeder cattle market, your real-time index on DV auction. Late in the day on Monday, sitting at $200.24. That's down 71 cents from the end of last week. Markets were kind of tough around and very uneven for the most part. Oklahoma National Stockyards in Oklahoma City, 7,900 head for them. Feeder steers were steady. Feeder heifers steady to $2 higher, but the bigger heifers weighing over 800 pounds were a lot lower, $5 to $6 lower. Like I said, very uneven. Calves were higher in a light test, but not many there. Saw an impressive quote from National Livestock Commission there in Oklahoma City. They sold 64 steers, weighed 663 at 228. That's a pretty respectable quote right there. Joplin Regional Stockyards had that huge run like we talked about on our last visit, but 10,300 head on Monday. A year ago Monday they had 4,100. So big sale there in Joplin. Market was very uneven there too, mostly ranging from steady to as much as $8 lower. We did see some heavier cattle sell higher there. It was just very uneven this way and that way. And the buyers don't really know which way they want to go. They still got orders to fill. It just depends on who shows up at the sale, where your competition's at. But your National Beef Wire stick-out sale of the day was Russell, Iowa. Russell Livestock Market. They had 3,200 head there. Market there was also very uneven. Look at your automated market report from DV Auction, and Russell is a DV Auction broadcaster there every week. 444 head of 4-weight steer calves in Russell, Iowa, average 456 with a weighted average price of $264.52. 482 head of 5-weight steer calves, average 549 at $247.84. 236 head of 6-weight steers, average 638, weighted average price $225.19. A couple of weight groups of heifers. 425 head of 4-weight heifers, average 451, weighted average price $243.12, and 409 head of 5-weight heifer calves, average 547, weighted average price $221.62. Some of you, like me, might have seen that Russell Livestock Auction is for sale. That's in Kansas, guys, not Iowa. The sale barn in Russell, Kansas is for sale. The sale barn in Russell, Iowa is not for sale. Talk about your some of your big individual quotes. West Point Livestock Auction in West Point, Nebraska. That's the Shavens there. They sold a long string, 4 loads of big steers there, and they bring one heck of a price. 311 head of them, Average weight on them was 930 pounds, bring 198.75. Big time quote. How about a quote from a sale barn never talked about before? Washington County Livestock Center in Springfield, Kentucky. They had an in-house video sale there, sold 60 steers, weighed 860 pounds locally there at $200.20. But the most impressive quote that I saw anywhere on Monday, your Macrocin, no BS, top quote for the day, come out of Sioux Falls Regional Livestock in Worthing, South Dakota. DV auction broadcaster sells 495 head of steers in one whack that weigh to 883 pounds and bring 208. That's your feeder flash for Tuesday.